Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. I am quite excited to be here with you today. We have someone that's going to be talking to us about how caregiving and self care go hand in hand. And according to the Family Caregiver Alliance, there are approximately 39.8 million caregivers that provide care to adults that are ages 18 and older, or those with a disability or illness, or about 16.6% of Americans. So I am honored today to have with us a guest named Monica, who will be here to share her expertise about how important it is to have caregiving skills, but also how to have great self care skills as well. So we're going to introduce the show and then come right back with our special guest joining us in the studio. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for a great episode. Hello, everyone. I'm very grateful that you took the time to tune in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Everyone, we are back and we have Monica Brunson. How are you today?
I am well. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so honored to have you here today. And your philosophy is one that I really think I embrace. And I'm looking forward to learning a lot more about it. But let me let everyone know you are a member of Positioned with a Purpose. You own Brunson Healthcare Consultants Group, where you help families in assisted living care. You've also participated in an anthology where you wrote about your grief journey. And we're going to learn a lot more about that today, and how involved the loss of your mother and your grandmother and how that impacted your life. So today you are also heavily involved in ministry and love serving people. And you sometimes may have forgotten about taking care of yourself, but we're going to learn how you rediscovered the importance of that today on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. So welcome to you, Monica.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is truly an honor and a blessing to be here. This is a subject that is near and dear to my heart because I do think that as especially women, as caregivers, we forget to take care of ourselves. We really, really do. And so my goal is to help folks understand that self-care is very important. And this is Mental Health Month, May. Yes. We're at the end of it. It also, interestingly enough, is Older Americans Month. And a lot of times caregivers are taking care of their older American, their older person in their life. So,
That's good. Yeah, when you talk about your own personal journey, I wanted to give people a chance to hear your backstory, because sometimes we become passionate about something and it's birthed out of our own personal experiences. So I want people to get a chance to learn more about who you are and what you've personally had to encounter to be able to get to where you are today.
Yeah, so my journey was one of trial by error. Okay. So I lost my mom in 2006 to colorectal cancer. 3 years before that was her diagnosis. So she was diagnosed with cancer in 2003, and then spent 3 years truly still taking care of other people. Still, even with her cancer, taking care of other people, taking people back and forth to church, taking care of my nephew who had lost his mom a year before. And then my grandmother herself was ill, and back and forth. And so my mother was the caregiver who also became ill. And so my challenge and what happened in my life was that I stopped everything. Wow. I stopped everything to take care of her. to focus on her, although she was still very able to get around and do for herself. All of my attention went to her. All of my
Okay.
attention went to, my mother, my grandmother, my dad, who had a massive heart attack in the midst of my mother's chemotherapy. If you can,
That
if
is,
you can
I mean, that's
imagine that
like, that's a
happening.
lot. What you're
Yeah.
saying is a lot to process, and for you to even just be still standing and able to talk about it. But you're saying your mom, colorectal cancer, she went on to continue to be the person she was created to be. So she was
Mm-hmm.
helping everyone, taking people back and forth, helping the nephew is what I'm hearing you say, right?
Yes, she had a
Then,
grandson.
so she was a caregiver
She was
by
a
nature.
caregiver, yes, by
Mm,
nature. And I learned from her both the good, the bad, and the ugly.
right.
So I learned the great things. I take the great pieces from it, the caregiving piece, the heart piece, the passion piece. I take that from her. But the piece that I had to learn not to take was the not taking care of myself,
Wow.
not putting myself first. It is, if I can leave folks that we have had, some technical difficulties today. And just in case we have another one, if I can leave you with anything, it is okay to take care of you. It is okay to put yourself first for just a moment, because who you can't pour from an empty cup.
That's right.
You cannot. And though we keep moving and we keep moving, you can move only so far on adrenaline. And then here's what happens. And I'm going to reference my book. Yeah.
Yes, let me pull your book up for a
Look,
second. There,
transition. Oh, that's beautiful. Yes. Oh, look at that. Best-selling author. Okay, let me not
yes, you are a
let me not
best-selling
get
author on
redirected.
Amazon, and so people definitely you can get a copy of her book, Unapologetically Brave, and this is an excellent read that you want to definitely have in your library for sure. Okay.
Thank you. So look, this is and let me just a slight correction. This is a book that I'm in. This anthology
Right.
is a combination of 15 amazing women. The visionary author is Minister Shonda Joy Howerton. I need to shout her out, because if it were not for Minister Shonda, if it were
Howard.
not for Minister Shonda and Positioned with a Purpose, I'm telling you, this would not have come to fruition for me. I talked about writing a book and writing about my mother, but I needed that catalyst. I needed that group of women.
Right.
And it was God's timing. It really was. So in the book, I write in my chapter, I say, when you are in pain, grieving, and don't know that you're in pain and grieving, you will bleed all over everyone in your path. And and sometimes that bleeding looks like help. I
Looks
helped
like help,
everybody. It
like
looks like help.
H-E-L.
It looks like you helping.
Oh,
You
but really
helping.
you're bleeding on
You're
other.
bleeding on everybody. You're rescuing. You're running to them. You are so busy. You are so busy being a busybody that you do not take care of your body.
Well, wait, that's an interesting way of even thinking about it. So you're saying, because I hadn't heard it that way before.
Mm-hmm.
What I hear you saying is that if a person may be in their own grief state and they're trying to deal with the loss of a loved one in some regard, they may go and try to overcompensate by doing more helpful deeds, but really they're hurting deep in the inside. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what I'm saying, because that's exactly what I did. That is
Wow. Okay.
exactly what I did. I
Okay.
took care of everyone. I jumped in. And when I said bleed on other people, I took care of people who didn't need me to take care of them.
Wow.
And then I got mad. Look, transparent moment. Then I got mad when they didn't let me take care of them.
But did they tell you we don't need any help? We just
Oh yeah. In some cases, folks did say, I don't need your help. And
but
I
you
said,
needed the help is what I'm hearing you say.
right. I said to them, I know what's best. But I did not. So
Wow.
so as when you are grieving, when you some mm, so as a caregiver, you must take care of yourself. But when you are a grieving caregiver, it is even more important, vital, that you pause and take care of yourself, which is
Wow.
why I did certain things. I started to learn to do certain things. I did not really start grieving my mother until a year after her death. A year. I functioned through going through the motions. I
Wow.
never skipped a beat. I was a director on a dementia unit. I was taking care of my nephew, making sure my father was okay, making sure everybody else was okay. I never skipped a beat. A year later, I was on my way. I actually had a brunch in honor of my mother a year after her death, and then got on a flight to Dallas for a Mary Kay convention. Yep, y'all, I do Mary Kay too.
No wonder you got that face over there all beat beautifully. It's like slay,
Okay,
slay.
it's all about your skincare. But I literally went to a Mary Kay convention and burst into tears because they got my room wrong.
Mm.
The tear, it had nothing to do with the room. It was, I had a moment to be still in all that chaos, and it hit me. So
Wow.
even after that, though, I still had really some self-sabotaging. So that's another thing we have to be careful as caregivers, that you're not throwing yourself into that conundrum, that you're not throwing yourself into caring and giving, and just you get to the place where you're simply not taking care of yourself. So I learned to be still. I had someone who had to say to me many times, I had a mentor who said to me, be still, stop yourself, be still. When I finally got that, and again, tied it with the word, be still and know that I am God. As my spiritual growth occurred, my personal growth occurred, my business growth occurred, it all came together, and it's
Yes.
still coming together. I am by no means done or
No.
arrived. However, I have learned how to take moments to take care of myself. I've understood the importance of refilling. It's the reason that I'm away right now traveling, because I needed to get away, to regroup, to be still, to
Good.
process.
So you're
Um,
very intentional about being able to
yes,
steal those moments away now to take care of you as you're
yes.
giving and pouring out to others. And now your mom, I know she transitioned from this earth, and so
Mm-hmm.
she's no longer here, but she's definitely celebrating as one of your cloud of witnesses from heaven. How's your dad, by chance?
My Okay, now here's what's interesting, because God is funny. I don't know how God works with y'all, but God just brings stuff back to me. He's like, okay, let me see if you learned that lesson. So my dad is well. However, we are going through a process of treatment for lung cancer.
Wow. Okay. And none of this stuff did you had
I
no
can't
way.
make this stuff up. My mother's colorectal cancer was completely asymptomatic. She had not a single symptom. What she did, and okay, point of our conversation today, she went to a routine doctor's appointment. Her doctor said, let's just run all the tests. You're of age. You haven't had a colonoscopy yet. Let's get a colonoscopy. Okay, second thing I need you to remember, look, I'm Baptist. Point number two. Point number two, get your colonoscopy. Do not be afraid of the prep. You need to be concerned. The prep is what it is. The prep is not pleasant. We don't talk about that right now.
Right, right.
Everybody knows the prep. It's not pleasant, but it is necessary. It is necessary. It will save your life. That little bit of inconvenience, not eating, not going to the cookout, having a personal relationship with the tidy bowl man. Look, it, it's worth it. So my mother's colorectal cancer was found with a routine colonoscopy.
Wow.
She never had a symptom. My father's lung cancer was found by a routine doctor's appointment where they just simply did a chest x-ray. He has no shortness of breath. He's never had any shortness of breath. Now, he was a smoker, but he stopped smoking years ago.
Wow.
He stopped smoking years ago. So I say that to say, God brings it full circle to see if I learned the lesson. So this time around, I am taking care of myself. This time around, I am trusting God with the process. This time around, I am planning better. I am not overwhelmed. I am
Wow.
taking the time out this weekend. Happy birthday to you tomorrow. My birthday was yesterday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy
Yay.
belated birthday.
And I'm telling you, I took the time out to celebrate me, to relax, because for the next 6 to 7 weeks, we're going to be going through a treatment that is, my attention needs to be there. But first I had to fill my cup and ask God to run it over, because the full cup is for you. The overflow is for everybody else. So God, give me the overflow to get through these next 6 weeks.
Yes.
Be still. You've got to be still, my caregiver. You have to. Don't tell me you don't have time. You have to ask for help. Point number 3, ask for the help. There are people who will give you a break for an hour. They may not be the people you expect. Who cares if it's not your brother, your sister, your cousin? They may not be the ones. It could be your good girlfriend. It could be your support group, your tribe. Reach out to your tribe. Take the hour to go get your nails done. Take the hour to get a pedicure. Take the hour to just walk. Okay, so you're not into nails and the pedicure and the hair, fine.
Whatever works for you.
Whatever works for you.
Do
Yes,
something
ma'am.
that makes you feel better, regardless of what it is. It may be gardening. It may be that you're going, like you say, for a walk, or you're
whatever
just
your
reading
thing
a book,
is.
like a good book. For me, I have gobs of books all throughout my house, and I pull books. I'll pull the books and just grab them and put some by the bed and read on them. Whatever works for you is what you need to do. So this is great.
Thank you. And I want to share, look, Jaria Sharkey is a dear. I don't know if she's online. I dare not touch a button to find out. So, but I'm sure she's going to see this. She wrote an amazing book, Caregivers Need Love Too. So I want to just do a little teeny plug for her book. She was someone who I met during the pandemic.
Caregivers need, I'm typing that, caregivers.
Yep, Caregivers Need Love Too. It's on Amazon. It's Jaria Sharkey.
Jaria, how do you spell that?
Yep, Jaria. Sharkey, Shark, and then EY.
Okay.
So she's a part of an anthology as well. And in her anthology, she writes this: caregiving can be exciting, rewarding, as well as stressful from both a professional and personal perspective.
Right.
However, it can be even more stressful and isolating for family caregivers, especially when they do not have family support or a life outside of their caregiving duties to help balance the load.
That's right.
You have to find that balance. You have to have something outside of. My mother was my everything.
Of course. My mom is too. So I know.
My everything, my cheerleader, my confidant, my encourager, my example. But she did not have that unction to care for herself.
Wow.
She cared for everybody else and put herself last. Do not do that. It's not fair to your family. It's not fair to you.
Well, you know what? Well, it's not fair, but it's so hard for people to grab hold of the concept, Monica, when it's in the moment, in the motion. Because I mean, we can see, even when our loved ones are here on this earth. I say to my mom often, Mom, you care for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then really at the end of the day, when you look at how she's treated, I'm like, really? And you're
It's
going
hard.
to the extremes to help people all the time. And not just in our family, just in general. My mom helps everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I see how she gets treated in the process of her going to the extreme to pour out her soul to everyone else. And it actually must be a generational thing, because I literally do the same thing. So I'll go to great measures, Monica, to help people. And I'm like, really? Look how they this is the thank you I get.
Mm-mm. My pastor says that the one way you can get the biggest disappointment is unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations lead to disappointment. So, as a caregiver, we are natural caregivers, but we have to put in boundaries. And we have to, it is hard. It's always hard the first time. But let me
Right.
tell you, the first time it was very hard for me to say, okay, I am going to do this for me. I'm going to say no. We've heard it before. No is a complete sentence,
Right. Yeah.
but it does get easier. And then once you put those boundaries in, and once you realize that, look, I'm doing this for this joker and they don't appreciate it,
Oh my
I
goodness.
love me more.
That's
And as
funny.
caregivers, love yourself enough to, again, we're caring for our loved ones. And I have so many different perspectives of caregiving, because my company, I work in the area of helping people find that help.
Right.
And I literally just got a call from a family member where an assisted living did not do the right thing.
Wow.
And I have to, acknowledge that, step back and see what I can do different, what the
Right.
provider can do different. But so that then causes, and then I still have to minister, so to speak, to the family member, because they um now are almost like they feel like they can't let go again.
Right. Right.
So now we have to reel them back in and say, no, you can go away for the weekend. No, you look, we're in a different assisted living now. It's going to be a different experience. That was one moment. So a lot of times what I find is caregivers don't want to take that break. And in reference to self-care, you don't want to take that break because you think you can't. You think, I had a young lady who would not go on vacation
Right.
because her mother was ill.
And then people think that something could happen while they're on
Something's going to
vacation.
happen. And then it's
And
going to be my fault because I wasn't there to hear the bell.
right.
I wasn't there to get the call. That's where you understand that Psalm 46:10, hopefully I got the address right. Be still and know that I am God. That's where you have to work on the spiritual side. You have to make, I'm a Christian, no bones about it. However, um whatever your higher power, whoever you believe created you, wherever you are, you have to trust
Right.
that God is in control.
Yes.
God is in control. I am not in control.
Nope.
Monica is not in control. I was in the room when my mother passed away. I didn't see my mother's last breath because my mother was tricky. My mama had the nerve to, okay, Vigil. I speak from experience. I'm not talking about nobody else. I'm
Right.
talking about me.
You're
I
talking
did
about
the
yourself.
vigil. I did the watch her. I did the come in. I was in healthcare. I saw the respirations. I counted her pulse. I turned away and my mother slipped away
Hmm.
because we're not in control.
That's right.
We're
We're
not in
not.
control. So it is okay to take care of yourself. And the better you take care of yourself, truly, the better you can take care of others.
That's
I'm a
right.
better person when I take these little breaks. I'm not bleeding on people. I'm not freaking people out. I'm not stressing people. I'm not popping off just because I've kept it. And women, we have got to not keep everything in because it comes out in health issues.
Absolutely.
It comes out in high blood pressure and heart disease and cancer and overeating and not exercising.
Yes.
We carry our stress differently. I had to tell my cousin, I never realized how stressed I am until I go away and be still.
Isn't that amazing? That's when you realize how much it was so needed for you to be able to just unwind, unplug, and just breathe.
What happened? Come on
that's
back.
okay.
There we go. Whoop,
Somebody
we're
may have
back.
called your phone because you're on your cell phone.
Somebody called me. Tell them
So they
stop
calling you.
calling
They like,
me.
girl, you famous. We're gonna talk to you right now in the middle
Okay,
of this
don't
show.
call me no more right now. People call me in about 10 minutes. Call me 10 minutes. So yes, we have to take care of ourselves, and we're so much better. I slept. I had to tell my cousin. I didn't realize how stressed I was until I realized how well I slept. Because you got to refill. And then if I could leave with support groups, I do want to get this in. You have got to, I don't like telling people what they need to do. Let me tell you what I did.
Before you tell
Yes,
me
ma'am.
what you did, I want to acknowledge one of our episode sponsors,
Yes.
which is Hunter Everidge Law Firm. They are focusing on injury and disability. And so definitely give them a call, 704-251-2945. And if you are in the Carolinas area, Richmond, Virginia area, or the Alabama area, they have offices located there. We're going to take a commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to learn more about support groups. Is that okay, Monica?
Absolutely.
Monica, you traumatized from the whole technical difficulty thing. You're like, I'm getting it all in right now. But you're good right now, though. You're good. You're good. We'll be right back, everyone, right after this commercial break.
My father had 4 of his fingers amputated in a workplace accident. It was the first injured individual I represented. And I knew I had to win that case. When someone walks into my office and they've been injured, I know what they're going through. If you've been injured at work with Hunter and Everidge. We've got the experience, so let us help you.
Right, everyone, we're back and we're talking with Monica Brunson, and she's talking to us today about caregiving and self-care, how they go hand in hand with each other. She's also a contributing author to an Amazon best-selling book, which is Unapologetically Brave. And so I'm excited to have her here with us today. Talk to us about the importance of self-support, like support groups, when you're dealing with a caregiver.
Because you cannot do it by yourself. It is hard. It's very hard to take the time out for yourself. So that's where support groups come in. That's where your sister circles come in, your, like-minded folks come in. And you have to sometimes look even outside of your immediate circle, because they may be as traumatized as you. They may not be able to help you process. They may be the very ones making you feel like you have to spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with mama. So I believe the support groups are really important. There is one in particular that I want to shout out, of course.
Yeah.
Her name is Betsy Wurzel. I always pronounce her name wrong. Betsy Wurzel. She actually is on Facebook. She has if I can say this, she has an Alzheimer's association. So she has an Alzheimer's support group, Alzheimer's and dementia, because that is usually when we have to step in sometimes to help. Sometimes it's a debilitating physical disability,
yes,
but a lot of times it's the cognitive issues that cause you to have to start stepping in to be caregiver. And so her group is called the Kick Ass Support Group.
Okay.
So it's really AZZ. It's AZZ.
And this is, what's her name again?
Her name is Betsy Wurzel. It's Wurzel. And I'm actually going to be on her program in August. So, I just wanted to give a little plug. She does a great program on Mondays at 10 a.m. On I have to say this correctly, WDJY 99.1 FM. And so Betsy's group is good because there are people going through what you're going through. The Alzheimer's Association. Okay, so you don't know Betsy. So the Alzheimer's Association has a very good support group. They have a great network. They can point you in a direction. Your local hospital, that leaflet, that little newsletter they send you every month that you just throw in the trash with the junk mail.
Right.
If you flip through that, at the back of it, it usually has an entire list of support groups.
That's good.
All different types of support groups. And then if you really, need somebody to talk to, come on and call me. I'll give you 5 minutes. I
And
really will.
how do people get in touch with you? Let's put your contact information up.
Absolutely. So it's info@brunsonhealthcareconsultants.com. That's my email. And then my phone number is 410-935-0232. And yes, I do answer my phone, except when I'm on with Kim Jacobs.
Then it freezes you and you're like, wait, stop calling me right now.
Right. Because some support groups will help you. And the other thing I want to share with folks is give yourself grace. Give yourself grace, even if okay, so the one time that you went out, your sister ended up calling you and couldn't figure out which pill to give mom.
Right.
It's okay. The next time, put the pills in a pill bottle, label it for your sister, take a picture of it. This technology, take a picture of the pill that mama has to take at 1:00 and be okay with the next time it's going to be better. And that's what I like to do. I like giving people practical things to do. I'm not going to say, oh, just self-care is self-love. Yeah, it is. But let me show you how to do that, because this is how I did it. This is how I learned. And it was through the tears. It was through the stress. It was through other people shaking me and saying, girl, what is going on? It was through my cousin telling me, girl,
you need some help.
Come out. You need some help. Why won't you come out the house?
Okay. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you have family that's like that care enough to say, wake up, stop.
Mm-hmm.
You're going too far.
You're doing too much. You're doing too much.
You're doing too much. Listen. So the advice you've given, first of all, you've given some significant pointers on this show in a very short period of time. I hear you saying that you encourage people to understand that no is okay to say and not to feel bad about it. And you might feel bad about it initially, but anybody in the studio audience, type that in the comment section. Saying no is okay when you're trying to be able to balance caregiving and self-care yourself. You may not be able to do everything for everyone else in addition to what you're already doing with those hats and those roles.
Exactly.
You also talked about setting some boundaries, and I think that's important that you mentioned. You also talked about asking for help. So
yes,
I can't type and host and do all of this at the same time.
No.
I'll just go ahead and type it in the comments if you are watching this, and even if you're watching it in the replay, make sure that you type saying no when necessary, recognizing and establishing your boundaries. That's important. And then also making sure that you ask for help. Even if it's not from within your family unit, it may be some people you talked about in your sister circle or your friend circle or your extended family. So I love those tips that you shared early on as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and practice some kind of spiritual grounding. Get out of your head. You are not God.
Yeah, I say that often. Look, there is a God, and is not Kim is not God.
He does all of it. God does all of it. We can't do all of it. We simply cannot. We're not built like that, but we are built for whatever our assignment is. And let me share that. Make sure that what helped me the most was not me. I'm telling y'all, what helped me the most was my relationship with God, my grandmother's relationship with God, my mother's I had a praying grandmother, you hear me, and a praying mama. I saw her on her knees at 6:00 in the morning. I saw her pray. I prayed with her. God is the center. Christ is the center of my life. That is what got me and gets me through. Trusting him. You have got to find that you got to anchor in that. And if you can anchor in that, I'm telling you, it will be okay.
I did type that. I may not have been able to type a bunch of stuff, but I did type that whole paragraph right there. My relationship with God and watching my mom and grandma's relationship with God got me through, is what Monica just said. And when we come back, we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, I want you to give a few tips on what can help get other people through as well, because that's your personal journey that got you through. Any advice on what people can do to start just taking some initial steps to get through what they have to deal with as a caregiver and self-care. Right when we come back, everyone, right after this commercial break. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary audio development formula called audio immersion to provide an experience that's designed to help quickly and effortlessly generate positive change in the subconscious mind when used correctly. This experience is achieved using 4 primary building blocks: brainwave modulation, invocation of positive emotions, immersive imagination stimuli, and developmental suggestion. We know of no other source in the world that provides the synergistic combination. With a good pair of headphones, you'll be able to immerse yourself into audio that's designed specifically to help you feel better, do better, and live better.
All right, everyone, we're back, and we are talking with Monica Brunson, who is definitely sharing some great tips with us on being a caregiver and having appropriate self-care. So that's the topic. Caregiving and self-care go hand in hand with each other. She's also an international best-selling Amazon author and an anthology called Unapologetically Brave. And so you can get that on Amazon as well. All right, so give some tips.
So the first tip I want to give is identify your helpers in advance. Make a list of, the 3 people that you can call who could come over. They may or may not know the situation. It's better if they know the situation, but even if they don't know the situation, 3 people that you can call, that you can either go to their house or they'll go on a walk with you, or they'll watch mom for 30 minutes. Identify that list in advance, because one of the most frustrating things is when you need the help and you call and the person's like, oh no, well, I don't think, because that will discourage you. Then that makes you think that there's no one. So identify your helpers in advance. For yourself, meditation. I think that was where I wanted to go with the spiritual grounding. Meditation really does help. And meditation doesn't have to be spooky or weird or anything. You don't have to find a yoga class. You just have to stop and breathe.
A meditation, and I'm typing this, stop and breathe is what you're saying. Stop and
breathe.
You said it doesn't have to be all mystical, everything.
Right, no, it doesn't.
Be intentional about how you're breathing. Okay.
Exactly. And it will allow you to tune in on what am I feeling right now.
Right.
Let me be still. What am I feeling? Let me breathe before I get my day started. Let me take this moment. I had to do that earlier. The technical difficulties, it took me all the way to 60. And I had to bring it all the way back down and say, let me breathe, catch my breath. There is a reason for everything. There is someone who needs to hear what you have to say, who was not available at 11 o'clock. That part. Yeah. The other thing, please, please, please. This is kind of basic, but we don't do it. Drink lots of water. Hydrate yourself. When you are dehydrated, your brain does not function. When your brain is not functioning, you really aren't thinking clear.
That's right.
And when you're not thinking clear, you can't be clear.
You can't. No matter how you think you're being clear, you're not. And so it's like, it's just, sometimes it's hard for us, as Les Brown often says, for us to see ourselves when we're in the picture frame. So you cannot see yourself if you're a part of the picture, and somebody else that cares about you have to say, listen, this is what I see. What I'm looking at is this. You got to get something to happen in this scenario, because it is not working well for you.
Right. And it's hard for us who are the strong ones, the ones that everybody goes to or comes to hear that. It's funny. The situation just occurred with me a couple of days ago, and my nephew said, "But I told you that." I said, "You're right." And somebody else told me that too before you. Sometimes it may take a third person, but eventually we do hear it. Thank goodness we do hear it, so we can take care of ourselves. And the drinking water and the meditating and this one, getting sleep. They sound like simple things, but it really is the simple things.
When it comes time to actually applying it, Monica, believe it or not, it's not as basic as it sounds. It's difficult if that's not something that you're open to receiving, and implementing.
Exactly. That is the implementation that is difficult. Everyone knows you're supposed to drink water. I don't like the taste of water. That's okay. Put some lemon in it.
Whatever it takes, it has to happen.
Infuse it. Do strawberries, cucumbers, and lemon. Put it in a big old jug of water and drink it.
Yep, I agree.
There you go. And then finally, what I'm really, really, really wanting caregivers to do is make the time. We are busy. If you're a caregiver and you're an entrepreneur, or you just have a 9-to-5, and in most cases it's a sandwich generation, you're a caregiver who's taking care of parents and your own family. But make the time for yourself. Self-care is loving yourself enough to take a minute out of the day for you. And you're worth it. If no one else says it to you, if you can't seem to say it to yourself, record someone saying it and play it back. I love motivational videos. Sometimes you just need to hear yourself say, I'm worth it. Record yourself saying it and play yourself to yourself.
That's good.
That's all I got.
You got plenty, woman. That's some good stuff right there. I mean, I'm thorough. I've been typing all kind of stuff over here that you are saying, and I am thoroughly impressed. And I'm so glad that we actually came back on and just kind of kicked the theory in the head to not just stay off air. This is just beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I value the time. I appreciate you so much. And I thank you so much for doing that. Because you didn't have to. You absolutely did not have to.
Oh, it's my honor to do it. I want people to benefit. I mean, so many people were on before and they were chiming in. And one question that I asked the studio audience is, what are ways that you can help and serve as a caregiver, even if it's to people that you don't even know? And one example that I shared, Monica, is when I'm at the grocery store and I see someone, they may have an oxygen tank, they're in the cart and they're trying to just make it. They're just simply trying to just exist and get their groceries. I'll ask them, do you mind if I go throughout the grocery store and do your list for you and put it in your cart? That saves them maybe 10, 15 minutes of exerted energy that they don't have to do. And then I'll put, if they allow me to, I'll put the groceries in their car. Or if they need help, whatever they need help with, I do everything I can to try to just help to the level that they are comfortable. Not everybody, regardless of their age, wants that help. So keep that in mind too. So that's sometimes people feel like you're taking away their independence when they get to a certain age. And now you're so-called caregiving. And they're like, I didn't ask you for that. And I don't need that.
I'll tell you something else you can do that if you have a family member and let's say, okay, you're not the one who's going to be able to stay with grandma or mom. Right. Send them dinner. Do you know how awesome it is when someone sends you dinner and you don't have to cook Sunday dinner? That's 1 hour that I could just sit and be still for that hour because I don't have to cook. Send them dinner. Uber Eats or whomever, just drop it off. Drop off the groceries.
Yeah. Felinda Farley was on earlier and she was saying that she has this thing called Felinda Farley Meals, and she'll send those meals over to different seniors that she knows they aren't able to take care of themselves. And her son and her husband will go and take care of the grass and the lawn for some of the aging individuals as well. Yeah. And I was telling somebody earlier too that my son, I looked out the window and he was across the street, Jeremiah, my 18-year-old, and he was helping gather the leaves and take the trash can to the curb and for one of our senior neighbors. And I hadn't even instructed him to go and do that. And I was like, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm training him right. I'm training all my kids right. But I was like,
that's a
Lord,
ripple
this is
effect.
what I want.
That's a ripple effect, because I bet you there's a son or a daughter who didn't have to do that.
Right.
For mom, by him doing it. So, and you are showing him, the group that I'm in the morning, 6:20 a.m. I'm up. Thank you, Minister Shonda, 6:20 a.m. Monday through Friday. The group is called Positioned with a Purpose. And so every one of us is positioned with a purpose.
Yes.
Whether you're a caregiver or whether your job is to care for the caregiver. Because guess what? The person who's the caregiver needs love too. That person needs a break. So sometimes we won't ask for it, but we'll take it if you show up. I bet you we will.
Yeah. And I commend my aunts. My dad's sisters, when my grandmother was alive, they actually would rotate and have her stay at one of their homes for a month and then the other home for a month. And then that gave each of them the opportunity to care for their mom, but also get a break so the other one would go on a cruise or whatever while the other one was watching grandma. It was just amazing to witness. And they would design the room in a way that was very similar so that she would be comfortable with her surroundings looking very similar at each house.
And that is absolutely awesome, because that's the one thing when I say, when you're doing that flip-flop, try to make it as cohesive and the rooms look the same, so that the person who's being cared for is not disoriented. So then you spend a week for that person trying to get reoriented to the space, as much as possible, that duplicate the space. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love when I see families that are able to do that within. But for those who don't have families that can do that, it is okay. It's okay if the help you get is not family. If it has to be, your tribe might be bigger. Your tribe may have to be bigger. But if again, I can't say it enough that caregivers, we have to take care of ourselves. It is a journey I am on even now, to remember to take care of me, to remember to get all my doctor's appointments in, to remember to go get my blood work done. My mother was fighting the battle of her life when she turned 59. And these past two, people don't even realize, but I'll share this. I'll be real transparent. 57 through 61.
Someone's calling her right now. Oh, there you go. I was going to say, somebody's calling that phone. I can tell.
That means I need to finish up. Okay, I hear you, Holy Spirit. So these past 2 years and this year coming up are so significant for me as it relates to birthdays. My mother was fighting for her life when she was 58, 59, and 60. And so I need to fight for my life for real right now. And so that's what I'm asking caregivers to do. While you're in the battle, taking care of someone else, I need you to fight for your life the same way you will go to battle for somebody else's.
That is such a profound statement. The way that we go for someone that's transitioning and that's now been told that they're going to leave this earth, it's some time frame that we still don't know the exact day and time, but we go hard. We go really, I know I can only speak for me. I go really hard. When I realized that my sister was going to be transitioning from this earth, I was like, oh
okay,
man, I was like, we gotta do this, all kind of stuff. You put everything that you could think to put into motion, because number one, you want that decision to be changed. You don't want a person to leave this earth. So at the end of the day, it's like, what can I do to maybe make it, God, can it change? Can anything happen that reverses?
Can they be comfortable? And then making them comfortable and doing what's best and quality of life. And you go hard. You do. You go hard. Go hard now for you.
Go hard for yourself too, just as hard as you would go hard for someone else that you genuinely love and want their best interest to be considered. Consider your best interest as well. That is such, you're saying stuff, Monica. I'm so glad we came back on and did this live, because that was an incredible episode. So thank you. Thank you. Any final thoughts, closing comments?
God is awesome. My final comment is just a thank you, and I'm grateful. I am grateful for lessons learned. I'm grateful that I'm still here, and I'm just grateful. That's my final word is gratitude.
Wow. And Pamela Luing, she actually takes care of her mom too. And she does a chronicle journal, like vlogs and different things. And it is such a beautiful tribute to watch how she cares and how she sacrificed her own life. But she also still pursues her own goals and dreams too. And it's just a beautiful balance that I'm able to witness in her life. She's Coach P, if you want to look her up, Pamela Luing. And she says, exactly, there's no such truth. And let me put my glasses on, girl.
Ooh, there's so much truth.
Oh, there's so much truth in taking care of yourself. And I think that she does a great job of that and teaching others as well. Wow. I see all of you that have come on today. Thank you for tuning in. And as you said, tomorrow is my birthday. So if you're watching this on a replay and it's a different date other than May 31st, which is my birthday, then know that you don't have to say happy birthday if you're watching it in December or you're watching it in January. But May 31st is my 53rd birthday, and I'm excited to be here on this earth and full of gratitude for it, actually. Very grateful. And Monica just celebrated a birthday as well. So happy belated birthday to Monica. All right. I think people keep calling her phone and she's on her cell phone. So she's frozen over there. All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Thank you, Monica, for making it happen in your travels, regardless of the technical difficulties. I'm so honored that you were able to make it happen to be here today. And also, make sure you all stay connected with Monica Brunson at info@Brunson Healthcare Consultants.com, or you can call her at 410-935-0232. 410-935-0232. And you'll be able to stay connected with her. Get a copy of your book, which is Unapologetically Brave, which is on Amazon as a best-selling author. She's one of the best-selling authors in this anthology. I hope today has been a blessing to you, as it has for me, learning more about caregiving and self-care. Take care of yourself, as you cannot pour from an empty cup, as we often hear it said. I actually heard that from one of our church mothers, Mother Patricia Lofton is the one that I heard it from. So hope you, oh, here, she's back. Okay. All right. She said bye. All right. I'll be backstage if you're able to stay backstage, Monica. Let me meet you. All right. Have a great day, everybody. And I'll see you again at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Have a great one. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show, and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you, and make it a great day.